morning. Good morning. Happy Sunday, everybody. Happy week 15. We are here to talk NFL DFS. We're going to talk some bets. Lots to talk about. If you have questions on anything, DFS season-long playoffs are underway. If you got lineup questions or anything of that sort, start dropping that in the chat. And first of all, let me know how you guys are doing. We got lots of snow over here. Mitchell, Kevin, what's up? Jack, what's up? All right, so first and foremost, pretty good betting run we're on right now. Obviously, had the big Kyle Pitts winner on Thursday. Gave out 2 picks yesterday. Both were winners. Really liked that spot for Washington in the bowl game over Boise State. That was like a no sweater. They absolutely smoked them. I really like Damon Williams. You guys know that. I've been a big Jed Fish fan since he was at Arizona. I wanted Ohio State to hire him, pre-Ohio State winning the national title when it looked like they might be switching coaches. So I'm pretty bullish on Washington going into next season with, Damon Williams coming back, Jed Fish. Excited to see what they do in the portal and, how they stack up coming into next year. But I like that Washington team a lot. Guru got some snow in NYC too. Yeah, we got quite a bit yesterday overnight. Let's have a great Sunday favorite tournament stack on DraftKings. I got a couple. We can kind of get in. So we'll talk DFS first, and then we'll get into some betting picks. Mitchell, you said Darius Slayton day. You never have to talk me into betting on Darius Slayton. I like Darius Slayton. So, all right. So we'll go position by position. We'll talk stacks, and then we'll get into some betting picks. So starting off at quarterback, looking at the DraftKings ownership, and then I have my player pool pulled up that I put into a SportWise data space, and I will share this for you guys in the chat right now. If you want to access this, is free. You can filter it by positions and just see this isn't every single player. Actually, it might be every single player that's on my teams today. I'm not sure, but it's loosely the guys that I would consider putting into my DFS teams today. I'm playing 5 teams on DraftKings. I'm playing, 6 teams if you include cash, but 5 tournament teams on DraftKings today and 2 tournament teams on FanDuel, as well as cash on both sites. So looking at ownership right now at the quarterback position, Marcus Mariota, Matt Stafford, CJ Stroud, Jackson Dart, Lamar, Burrow. Those are kind of the top guys in ownership projection. I don't really think anyone's going to super separate at the quarterback position. So it's all going to come down to, how you stack them and how you build the rest of your teams. The guys that I like the most, I do like CJ Stroud today. I know I was really talking smack about him a few weeks ago. I think that was 2 weeks ago. He was the chalk cash game quarterback on DraftKings. And I made fun of it. And I was like, how could you ever play CJ Stroud as chalk and cash? Like he stinks. I think that's the case, but he projects better today than he did then. It's a better matchup today than it was then. And he's not going to be as high owned. It's a bigger slate. There's more options. So I actually really like Stroud today on DraftKings. I really like Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy's probably my favorite overall. So to go with your question, favorite GPP stack, I like Brock Purdy a lot. And it kind of goes hand in hand. McCaffrey, when we get to running back, we'll take a look. I don't know where he's going to end up in ownership because of the back concerns. He was going to be super popular. I still think he's going to be popular, but not crazy. But playing the Purdy stuff can give you a little bit of leverage on that. Like if we get lucky and Purdy throws the touchdowns instead of McCaffrey scoring them, and then they get up big and maybe they're concerned about the back, so they take McCaffrey out. Like there's paths for Purdy to kind of break the CMC stuff. And it's just a really good matchup in general. I mean, we saw Shador Sanders throw for almost 400 yards against this Titans team last week. They are completely bottoming out. They're still okay against the run, but really, really bad on the back end. Pass funnel defense. They've been really bad against tight ends, which is great for George Kittle. You still have Jawan Jennings there. You could use Pearsall if it's larger field, but I would rather play Jennings and Kittle with Purdy. But it's just a really clean double stack in a good spot with a super big team total and no weather concerns there either. So Purdy, Stroud look good to me. Jordan Love looks really good to me. I had a good Jordan Love team last week. I like him again today. So the Broncos are a weird team. Like, they're a good defensive team, but we've seen them get into like some of these shootouts this season. If you remember like the Giants game where the Giants jumped all over them in Denver and then they had to come back. Like, we've seen them give up some big games to opposing quarterbacks. The Broncos play pretty man heavy on the back end, and I talked about this on Friday. The Packers receivers are all really good man beaters. Dubs, Watson, even Jaden Reed at times. Like, those guys, even Dontavian Wicks, all those guys rate out really well against man coverage. Jordan Love's been on a heater. He's been playing very good football. I really like him at what I think is going to be low ownership, because anyone playing late stacks is going to be on Purdy or the Rams and Lions game. So I think you're going to get Jordan Love at a really, really good ownership, especially if you stack them up. So Love, Purdy, Stroud, probably my three favorites today. And then I obviously love the Rams and Lions game. You need to have some exposure to that. I'll probably have a Rams or Lions player or a mini stack of two guys from that game on every single team today. So that's kind of my favorite for QB. If you wanted to get further down the list, I think Bryce Young is in play at 51. I think Trevor Lawrence is in play at 5,700. I think both Dart and Mariota in that game are in play. And then you have the Cincy-Baltimore game as well. So there's tons of options on a big slate like this. But if I wanted to really hammer down my favorites, it would be Stroud, Purdy, Jordan Love, and then the Rams and Lions game. That's probably where the majority of my focus is. Mitchell, you said Genty. We will talk about him. I do like Ashton Genty today. Do we ride the Michael Wilson heater? I don't think people will play him. I think you're correct there. It's a tough spot against the Texans, but the Cardinals are not scared of getting down big. Like, sometimes you see these teams get down by a couple scores and they, start doing really vanilla, boring things. The Cardinals don't do that. And that's why Brissett's been so good from a fantasy perspective, is just getting all that garbage time. So could they get some more garbage time today against Houston? There is potential for that. But this is definitely the toughest spot I think Wilson has been in over the last few weeks. So I'm not playing any Michael Wilson in DFS today. I still think he's fine season long if you need to start him there. People are worried about Adams, hammy, and scared to play Stafford. I don't think so. I still think Stafford, I'm still seeing him for the second highest overall ownership on the slate at quarterback. Puka and Adams, very clean stacking partners. You also have Parkinson in there too. Parkinson's actually been very, very involved. But I don't think the hammy will scare anyone off in a 55 total. I think it's still going to be pretty highly owned. I am not running back my Niners stacks. I'm played pretty small field, so around 500 and less people. I don't think I need to force a bring back there. If I were to run it back, it would be with Chimere DK. We know the story. The 49ers have really struggled in the slot, and that's where he runs the majority of his routes. You also get the, increased potential where he returns kicks. So there's the off chance that he could return a kick for a touchdown, but he has the best matchup of the Titans pass catchers. So I think you could go back to him for a cheap play, but I'm going to play Purdy doubles and I'm not running that back. I'm just sticking with the 49ers players there. CJ, I think Mariota's fine. Good cat. I'll probably play him in cash. I haven't really decided yet. I have all my teams set except for my DraftKings cash team, so I don't know what I'm playing there, but I think Mariota's fine for tournaments and cash games both. Um, Watson, Smith, Ladd, pick 2 season long PPR. I'd probably take Smith out there, and I would take Ladd out there, I think, right now. Just a tough spot for Ladd. And then Ladd could cook the Chiefs. Like there is potential for that, but I just have no trust in this Chargers offense right now with the way that their offensive line is playing. And then Smith, it's just like super boom bust. If he doesn't catch a long touchdown, I don't know what you're getting from him. So I'd probably remove those two from that list. All right, let's switch to running back. When we look at the ownership projections here, we see Woody Marks at the top with a just truly massive ownership projection, over 50% projected ownership right now in medium to small field contests. We also have Christian McCaffrey, Jahmyr Gibbs, Kenneth Walker, Saquon, ETN. That's kind of the next grouping. I don't really know what to do with Woody Marks. I think he's an obvious must play in cash. I think he's fine if you're playing a contrarian stack. If you're playing a chalky stack, I probably would not play Woody Marks today. But I have him. I'm probably right in line with that 50% or slightly over. I would have to calculate it, but I'm probably in line or slightly over the field on him. I don't really know like how great of a play he is, but no Nick Chubb. It's a really good matchup. They're huge home favorites. We've seen him get a bunch of carries this year. So it's just kind of like you got to hold your nose and play it. If he scores a touchdown, I think he really, really would hurt you if you don't have him. But you do have potential runouts where he gets like 80 yards rushing and nothing else. So there's kind of an interesting case to be made to play him or not play him. But I think if you're playing a unique stack, I would be fine playing him. And I am playing pretty unique stacks today, especially like the Love stuff is going to be really low owned that I like. So I'll probably just end up playing Woody Marks. Why is Chase Brown so low and one of the best totals on the slate? I don't know. I'm a little bit concerned about the role for him. I know he's been good recently, but last week he really wasn't good. He just scored 2 touchdowns, which is fluky. And then 2 weeks ago on Thanksgiving when they played the Ravens, they benefited from the Ravens turning the ball over like crazy, and they ran over 80 plays. They're not going to run over 80 plays today. And is he going to score 2 touchdowns today? I don't know. Like Samaje Perine has been on the field enough to like hinder him. So I just think he's pretty far down the list. Like in the mid tier. So if I'm looking at Chase Brown, he's 6,700 on DraftKings. I'd rather play Ashton Genty for 1,000 less. I would rather play ETN for 200 less. I'd rather get up to Henry. I would rather play Harvey. I would rather play Walker, Marks. I would rather play Devin Neal for less, I think, too. There's just guys I would rather play than him. I'd honestly probably rather drop all the way down to Chuba Hubbard as well. So there's quite a bit of guys that I would have above him. But if you're playing like Burrow stuff, you could throw Chase Brown in there. That would be like larger field, though. Season long full PPR. Michael Wilson, Addison Rome likely. Probably the first two. It's probably Wilson and Addison for me. Ladd, Smith, or Hubbard in flex. That one's tough, honestly. I need to think about that one. Ladd, Smith, or Hubbard? I guess I'd probably, I don't know. I might rank it Ladd, Hubbard, Smith, maybe. I don't know. That's a really tough choice. I do like Chuba Hubbard today. I think he can have a good game, but when it comes like it's more of like a DFS play. Like when it comes down to starting him over one of those two, I don't know if I could get there. That's a tough choice. Tournaments at running back, I like Derrick Henry a good bit. I think you could see kind of the Ravens make a point to get Derrick Henry the ball after he barely touched the ball the last time they played the Bengals, and they made a huge deal out of it. So, I could see Derrick Henry really getting the ball early in this one, and he could certainly cook this Bengals run defense. I like him a good bit. I like Ashton Genty today. I know, like, you guys are probably tired of hearing me talk about him, but it's like this feels like potential. I know it's a West Coast team, not West Coast, but cross country travel for Vegas, early window, super low team total. They don't even have a 14-point team total, so that's all gross. But he still projects pretty well, even baking that team total in. He's been really involved as a pass catcher, which raises his floor on a site like DraftKings where you're getting a point for a catch. The Eagles don't have Jalen Carter, and they have been getting ran all over by everybody when he hasn't been on the field. So I have concerns about the Eagles defense here, especially with the morale of the team just seems low. I mean, we have a lot of Eagles fans that watch the stream, and I think any of you would agree with me. Like, this defense has just not played well recently. The team in general has not played well recently. The morale is not great. So is there potential for the Raiders to stay in this game? I think there is. And he has that receiving floor to where he could get, like, Genty could realistically catch six to eight passes probably today. I wouldn't be surprised. His receiving prop for yardage is pretty low. It's in the 20s, but he could have a big game. And honestly, I think Kenny Pickett is an upgrade over Geno Smith personally at quarterback. So I think Genty at 5,800 is pretty interesting tournament play. In addition to Derrick Henry, who I just talked about. James Cook, you could talk me into. He's expensive, but New England's run defense has not been great with Milton Williams off the field. We know he has a huge ceiling, and we like to play him at low ownership. So you could talk me into some James Cook today. RJ Harvey, you could run back your Packer stuff with. I am not going to run back my Packer stacks, but if I were to do so, it would be with RJ Harvey. So that's my thoughts there. ETN, I know Matt, who comes on the streams, he likes ETN a lot today. It's a good spot, big home favorite against the New York Jets. So I like ETN as well. They kind of buried Tootin last week after he fumbled twice. Will he be more involved this week in a potential blowout script? There's potential for that, but there's also potential for Travis Etienne to rip off some long runs against a run defense that's really, really fallen off the cliff, after they traded away the best run stopper in football in Quinnen Williams. So ETN would be firmly on my tournament radar as well. Pick one for DraftKings cash, Giants, Saints, or Green Bay defense. A little bit of a price difference there with the Green Bay stuff, but I think most people will probably play the Saints in DraftKings cash today. So that would be my pick, I think. Probably, I try to just play the chalk defense most of the time, but DraftKings cash is hard today, man. There's 13 games. I really don't want to play Mitchell Tinsley, which we'll talk about when we get to receiver here. I don't think the common build will have Mitchell Tinsley, but he is in play at 3,100, third highest owned projected receiver on the slate. And I just really don't want to play him in cash. So it kind of constraints what I can do. So we'll just shift over. So at receiver, we have Puka and Jamar Chase at the top. You have Jameson Williams, Nico Collins, Terry McLaurin, Juwan Jennings, Wan'Dale Robinson. Those guys are all popping in the mid-tier. Jacoby Myers as well. So those guys are all popping in the mid-tier. You have Mitchell Tinsley down for value popping. And then St. Brown and Devontae in that 7K tier are popping as well. So that's kind of the high ownership plays. Obviously love Puka in this game. Obviously love Chase with no Higgins. I don't really think you can go wrong there. If I were to pick one, it would be Puka, but that's a $600 difference. So I don't know if I can afford it. I don't know. I got to play around with it. I think if you play Tinsley, you can obviously get Puka. If you don't play Tinsley, you might have to drop the Chase. So that's kind of like what I've been working through. Like I really just don't want to play Mitchell Tinsley at all. So I'm probably going to skip that. But I like Puka and Chase at the top. I like Terry McLaurin a lot in the mids here. I think he can have a really, really good game. I like him to score a touchdown today. Great spot. If you remember last week, I bet his under receiving yards. Today, I'd be on his over receiving yards against the Giants. Really good spot for him at 54. Obviously, smash spot for Nico Collins against Arizona. Don't need to speak much on that. Jennings is in a good spot as well. I prefer Jennings to Wandale for cheaper. McLaurin as well. Like they're all a good bit cheaper than Wandale on DraftKings. So that'd be my my lean there. Tinsley too thin for FanDuel. Kevin, I do think so, yes. I think FanDuel, I feel really good about my team today. And I'll just tell you, let me see. I feel pretty confident. It'll be the team I'm playing on FanDuel today, I'm assuming will be a pretty big train. I think it's the best team. But I have Jacoby Myers, Wandale Robinson, Jamar Chase on FanDuel right now for cash. And I feel pretty good about that team. For tournaments at receiver, I love Brian Thomas Jr. today. I'm going to bet his receiving yards ladder, so I'll be tweeting that out after the game. But Brian Thomas Jr. has really good home road splits. They're at home today. We know the Jets defense is absolutely terrible. And what did the Jets do under Aaron Glenn? They play a lot of man coverage. What does Brian Thomas Jr. do? Beats man coverage. I could see him scoring a long touchdown today. I know Brian Thomas Jr. has really let everyone down that drafted him in the first or second round this year, but I think there's potential for him to have his best game of the season today. So I like Brian Thomas a lot in GPP. I like, other than Brian Thomas, it's kind of just, and McLaurin. McLaurin's chalkier, but I really like him at 54. So other than those two, it kind of just comes down to your stacks. So Jordan Love, I like Jaden Reed a lot. I like Christian Watson. Those would be my guys. I really like Jaden Reed, though, overall, if I was just picking one. If I'm playing Purdy, it's with Jennings and Kittle. I like St. Brown a lot at 79. So if I'm playing Stafford, I really want to get St. Brown in there if I can. If I'm doing mini stacks, I want to get St. Brown in there with either Puka or Adams. So I like St. Brown. I'm trying to think what other stacks I talked about. If I was playing Mariota, it'd obviously be with Terry. If I was playing Dart, it would be with Theo and then Slayton or Wandale. You could pick one. If I was playing, let me go back to, if I'm playing Stroud, it's with Schultz and Nico, I think. If I'm playing Trevor Lawrence, you can put Strange in there. With one of BTJ or Myers. I think that's it for quarterbacks, though. But yeah, I want to take a stand on Brian Thomas today. I like McLaurin. I'm going to put McLaurin in some touchdown parlays. And I like McMillan. I like McMillan and Coker both as like one-offs. Or if you're playing Bryce Young, you can double stack him as well. Coker looks pretty good for cheap play. Guru, if you're playing large field millie maker type stuff, I don't hate the Tutu Atwell play, but I don't play big enough field size to get to that. I would not one-off him, though. It would only be like a unique way to play Stafford. Like if you played Stafford, like a triple stack with Tutu, Puka, and like Adams or Parkinson, I think you could do that. Or a double stack and just hope that he scores a long touchdown. Like you're not going to get anything from him other than a long touchdown. But in a millie maker type setting, you know, that could be okay. I'd probably only play him if I was tripling him, though, which if you're going to triple him, that's fine in small field too. But I don't hate it, but you're going to need him to score a long touchdown. All right, let's finish up tight end, and then we'll get to some bets at tight end. We have Harold Fannin projecting for pretty high ownership. George Kittle, Theo, likely Andrews, Parkinson, Gesicki. Those guys are all projecting for double-digit ownership, and I think that's like the big pool that you'd be looking at. I think Fannin is really good. I think Kittle is an absolute smash today. Love both of those two. Feel really good because I have Kittle on all my season-long teams. If you read the draft article, you know that, and we made the playoffs in all of our leagues. So gonna need a big Kittle game today. Love both Baltimore guys. Talked about that on Friday's stream. Just smash any tight ends against Cincy. You can do a parlay, same game parlay for them both to score at like 8-1. I don't hate that. I did bet Isaiah Likely anytime at first touchdown just because he owes us money from Thanksgiving night when he dropped that to the end zone. So I went back to that play individually as well. But that's kind of the tight end pool for me. Strange, too, if you're playing Lawrence, would be the other guy that I would throw in there. But Fannin, Kittle, the Baltimore guys, Parkinson, Gesicki is probably my main tight end pool today. All right. As far as bets go, I'm going to give some of those out, and then we will get out of here. I'll post them on X after we get off stream as well. And then you know where to find the full card as well as the lineups. I like the Packers today. Our wagon, we've been riding the Packers. I'm not going to stop. Broncos undefeated at home this season, but I don't care. I think the Packers have been good to us. They're our wagon this season. I'm going right back to them. So I like Packers on the money line at -115. Rodriguez out. Are we going to Bill? I don't think so. It sucks that Rodriguez is out because I actually thought he was a viable season-long start, but I'm not going to work anything around to get Bill Krosky Meriden. They still have other guys that they could mix in. If you're playing Millie Maker type stuff, you could maybe consider Krosky Merritt. I don't hate it. It's a good matchup, but I'll probably just pass on that situation altogether. Betting angles, though, love the Packers today. I'm also going to do a moneyline parlay. 4 teams, Houston, Kansas City, Green Bay, and San Francisco. And that pays like plus 230-ish. So I like that. I already told you guys at receiver, I'm betting the BTJ receiving yards Lattice. I took him over 42 or 43.5 receiving yards. Can't remember. I think it was 42 on DraftKings, 43 on FanDuel, but took his over receiving yards. And then I took shots on 80 plus, 90 plus, 100 plus. You can bet his touchdown too if you want to. But I like the receiving yards ladder there. I like, for just touchdown picks in general, Ashton Genty, Terry McLaurin, either Ravens tight end, Kittle, Jaden Reed. That's probably my 5. I think that's 5 players. That's probably my 5 favorites for touchdowns. Let me see if there's anyone I missed. No. I think that's my favorites. Like Genty on FanDuel at 2-1 is just like sick. I love that. Love Genty at 2-1. McLaurin is like 2-1 as well, which is just really good, I think. Kittle is like plus 125, so a little bit worse odds. Both the Ravens guys are priced fine. Andrews is plus 150. Likely's plus 230. I obviously prefer Likely if I'm picking one of those. Then Jaden Reed, you're getting really good odds on. He's like plus 350. Love that. I don't hate Coker either. He's over 3-1 too. But yeah, those are my touchdown guys today. DraftKings cash 3v3 Dart, Chase, Likely, Mariota, Nico, Terry. I'd take that second one, CJ. Odunze is active. No shocker there. I also haven't bet it, but I kind of like the Patriots a little bit. I know I call the Patriots frauds all the time, but I also think the Bills are kind of fraudulent. Patriots are at home. I know like the offensive line is a little bit of concern with no Campbell, but I don't know. I think the Patriots win this game. So I might hop in on them. Plus 2.5. Money line's like plus 115. I like the Patriots side of that game. KC defense main issues, D-line pressure. So I think Herbert will have some time. I just can't bet Gadsden right now. I can't trust him. So that would be a pass for me. I did see McDuffie's out for KC, which is not good. They're in a weird spot. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I talked about that Friday, Guru. Like Phillip Rivers is going to play really well, or it's going to be a disaster. I don't think there's any in between there. I took Seahawks to score, and then I took Seahawks 2+ scores on like Thursday, and it was way better odds than it is now. So I didn't give that out. I'm not going to count it if it wins or loses. But yeah, but Phillip Rivers is quite literally my favorite quarterback that I've ever got to watch. So I'm super excited to just watch him play today. Hopefully it's not bad. I hope. I don't care if they win or lose. I just hope he doesn't I hope he doesn't embarrass himself because there's no reason. Buffalo, no Benford. Which New England wide receiver eats? I wish I knew, Taz. I wish I knew. Do we think Diggs is still vengeful against his former team? I don't know. He absolutely cooked them the first time they played. But it's like, I don't know. They spread those guys around. It's like a complete mystery to me. And I wish I had a better read. Nico or ETN DraftKings Cash. I would play Nico, but I also would not play 4 receivers in DraftKings Cash. I think you're just playing double tight end today. So I think you're playing Fannin and Kittle in Cash. Double tight end is really good today, both tournaments and cash games. Yeah, I think Puka Parkinson is fine. Let me see. I have a Stafford team on DK. Let me see what I have on that. Yeah, I have Puka and Parkinson on that team. It would definitely get expensive quick to do Adams Puka. So how I'm playing that is I have the Puka Parkinson in my Stafford team, and then I have a lot of Adams on my mini stacks with St. Brown. So hopefully, we're covered either way. If Adams is going off, the Stafford team is still okay and live, and it's even better for the teams where I have the mini stack. So overall, though, there's tons of people in here. Thank you guys. I will tweet out some bets after this if you guys joined late or missed it or whatever. Full card, you guys know where to find that. DFS lineups, you know where to find that. I got to go figure out what to play in DraftKings Cash. I just have no idea still. But all my tournament teams are posted. All my FanDuel teams are posted. So thank you guys for tuning in today. Thanks for all the love on Twitter the last few days. Hopefully we can keep making some money. Good luck today with your bets, fantasy teams, fantasy playoffs. And I'll see everybody tomorrow at 4 p.m.